You know, there are things people try to give you that you must never, ever accept. Because if you do, they will bury you alive. I'm not talking about something you can see with your eyes or hold in your hands. No, I'm talking about what gets into your spirit, what clings to your soul like a sickness. Somebody's hatred, their jealousy, their bitterness. Oh, you must never collect it, because once you do, it becomes your poison. Let me tell you something. You weren't created to carry darkness. Your heart wasn't made to store up resentment. Somebody does you wrong and you hold on to it. Now you've just taken their mess and made it yours. And what happens? That anger starts eating you from the inside. It affects your health, your peace, even your ability to prosper. You ever notice how bitter people never seem to move forward? It's because they're dragging around a weight they were never meant to carry. I've seen it too many times. Good people, talented people, people with so much potential, but they let somebody else's negativity take root in them. Somebody spoke death over their life, and instead of shaking it off, they believed it. Somebody betrayed them, and now they walk around with suspicion in their eyes, pushing away every good thing God tries to send them. Oh, but you can't live like that. You can't afford to collect every hurt, every insult, every negative word thrown your way. And here's the danger. When you keep absorbing toxic emotions, they don't just stay in your mind. No, they go deeper. They affect your body. Stress becomes sickness. Unforgiveness becomes a prison. Resentment becomes a curse that blocks every door of blessing. You wonder why you can't get ahead, why nothing seems to work. But have you checked what you've been carrying? Have you examined what you've allowed to live inside you? Tell you this. You must learn to let it go. Somebody's hatred is not yours to keep. Somebody's jealousy is not your burden. Somebody's bitterness is not your inheritance. Shake it off. Refuse to let their poison become your problem. Because if you don't, it will choke the life right out of you. Spiritually, emotionally, even physically. So I'm warning you today. Don't collect what God didn't give you. Don't store up what was meant to destroy you. Your heart is too valuable to be a dumping ground for somebody else's darkness. Let it go and walk free. Oh, but there's another thing you must never collect, and that's debt. Not just the kind you owe to the bank, but the kind you owe to people. Somebody does you a favor, and now you're bound to them. Somebody lends you money, and now you're trapped in their cycle. And before you know it, you're not walking in freedom anymore. You're walking in obligation. Let me tell you something. Debt is a chain. Financial debt will strangle your future before it even gets here. You borrow today, and tomorrow the interest eats up your dreams. You take a little now, and before you know it, you're working just to pay back what you spent years ago. That's not living. That's slavery. And God never intended for his children to live like that. But worse than money is the debt of the soul. When you owe somebody your loyalty because they helped you once. When you stay in a place God told you to leave because you feel like you owe them. When you let people control you because somewhere along the way you took something from them and now they hold it over your head. Oh, but listen to me. You don't belong to any man. You were bought with a price, and that price wasn't paid by human hands. I've seen too many people stuck in poverty, not just in their pockets, but in their purpose. Because they're tied to what they owe. They can't move forward because the past has a claim on them. They can't step into their destiny because they're still paying for yesterday's mistakes. But I came to tell you, you don't have to live like that. There is a way out. The Bible says, owe no man anything but to love him. That means the only debt you should carry is the debt of love. Not money, not favors, not manipulation. Because when you owe, you're no longer free. And when you're not free, you can't follow God's voice the way you should. You start making decisions based on what you have to pay back instead of what he's calling you to do. So if you're in debt today, financially, emotionally, or spiritually, make a plan to break free. Pay what you owe. Cut the ties that bind you and walk in the liberty that God has for you. Because poverty isn't just a lack of money. It's a lack of freedom. And you are meant for so much more than that. Never let debt own you, because your future is too valuable to be mortgaged to the past. There's something else you must never collect. And it's dangerous because it doesn't feel heavy at first. It slips in quietly, like a whisper settling into your thoughts until you don't even question it anymore. I'm talking about bad advice. I'm talking about the lies people speak over you, sometimes without even knowing it, that take root in your mind and choke out your destiny. You see, not every voice speaking into your life is speaking truth. Not every opinion, no matter how well-meaning, is meant for you to keep. Somebody tells you, you'll never be more than what you are right now. And if you accept it, you've just locked yourself in a prison of their making. Somebody says, that dream is too big. And if you believe it, you've handed over your future to their small thinking. Oh, but you must be careful what you collect. I've seen it too many times. People who could have been great, could have been free, could have walked in abundance, but they listened to the wrong voices. They let fear dress itself up as wisdom. They let doubt sound like reason. And before they knew it, they were living a life that wasn't theirs. A life built on limits that God never put on them. Let me tell you something. Just because someone is older doesn't mean they're wiser. Just because someone is loud doesn't mean they're right. And just because someone loves you doesn't mean they see what God has for you. You've got to test every word, measure every piece of advice against the truth of who God says you are. Because if you don't, you'll spend your life chasing a shadow of what could have been. And here's the danger. Once you accept a lie, it doesn't stay a thought. It becomes a belief. And once it's a belief, it becomes a decision. And once it's a decision, it becomes your life. You wonder why you're stuck, why the doors won't open, why the blessings seem to pass you by. But have you checked what you've been believing? Have you examined the seeds that were planted in your mind? Somebody told you money's evil, so you shy away from prosperity, not realizing God wants to bless you so you can be a blessing. Somebody told you you'll always struggle, so you accept lack as your portion, never knowing that breakthrough was yours all along. Somebody told you you're not good enough, so you shrink back from your calling, unaware that the enemy was using their words to keep you from your destiny. But today, I'm telling you, you don't have to keep what wasn't meant for you. You don't have to carry the weight of words that God didn't speak. Shake them off. Replace them with truth. Because the only voice that matters is the one who created you, the one who calls you chosen, blessed, and more than a conqueror. Never let someone else's limits become your reality, because what God has for you is so much greater than what anyone else can see. My friend, there are some people you simply cannot afford to keep close, not because you don't love them, but because love sometimes means knowing when to walk away. You weren't meant to collect every person who comes into your life as if they belong there. Some relationships aren't just difficult, they're dangerous. They don't just drain your joy, they drain your very life, drop by drop, until one day you wake up and don't even recognize yourself anymore. Think about it. Why would you let someone sit at your table who doesn't even want to see you blessed? Why would you pour your heart into someone who only sticks around to take from you? There are people who don't love you. They love what you do for them. They don't celebrate you. They tolerate you until you're no longer useful. And if you're not careful, you'll waste years trying to prove your worth to people who were never worthy of you in the first place. I've watched too many good people, kind people, gifted people, get stuck in cycles of lack and heartbreak because they refuse to see the truth about who is really around them. That friend who always has something negative to say, that family member who only calls when they need something, that partner who dims your light instead of fanning your flames. Oh, but you must open your eyes. Not everyone who smiles at you is for you. Not everyone who speaks kindly truly wishes you well. And here's what happens when you ignore the warning signs. You start to become like them. Their cynicism becomes yours. Their limitations become yours. Their poverty, spiritually, emotionally, even financially, becomes yours. You wonder why you can't break free, why the same struggles keep following you. But have you checked who's been walking beside you all this time? You were created for relationships that nourish you, that push you toward your destiny, not ones that leave you exhausted and empty. You weren't meant to be anyone's emotional dumping ground or financial rescue mission. There's a difference between helping someone and enabling them, between loving someone and losing yourself in the process. So today, I'm telling you, it's time to clean house. Not with anger, not with bitterness, but with wisdom. Some ties need to be loosened. Some doors need to be closed. Because as long as you keep letting the wrong people in, you're blocking the right ones from finding you. Never confuse loyalty with bondage. Your destiny is too important to be held hostage by someone else's dysfunction. Child of God, there are words spoken over you that you must never receive. Words that were never meant to take root in your life. Some people don't realize the power they're playing with when they speak death over your future. Others know exactly what they're doing when they whisper defeat into your destiny. But whether intentional or careless, you must never collect the curses people try to place on you. You see, words aren't just sounds. They carry spirit. They carry power. When someone says you'll never amount to anything, that's not just an opinion, it's a seed. When someone declares you're cursed just like your family, that's not just an observation, it's an assignment. And if you accept it, if you dwell on it, if you let it take root in your heart, it will grow into something that chokes out every blessing God intended for you. I've seen it happen too many times. Good people living under generational curses that weren't even theirs to carry. Someone spoke lack over their bloodline and now they can't break free from financial struggle. Someone declared sickness over their family and now they can't shake the same ailments. Someone prophesied failure over their future and now they sabotage every opportunity without even realizing why. But here's the truth. No curse can stick unless you let it. No evil word has power unless you give it a place in your life. You have authority over every negative declaration, every spoken attack, every generational stronghold. The enemy would love for you to believe you're bound by what's been said over you. But greater is he that is in you than every curse that's ever been whispered in the dark. Some of you have been carrying words that weren't yours to keep. Someone told you, you're just like your no-good father, and you believed it. Someone said, you'll always be broke, and you accepted it. Someone laughed and said, you'll never get healed, and you let it sink into your spirit. But today, I'm telling you, it's time to cancel every assignment. It's time to reject every evil word. It's time to break every curse by the power of the blood that was shed for you. You must learn to guard your ears, guard your heart, guard your spirit. Not every word spoken to you is for you. Not every prophecy over your life is from God. Test the spirits, discern the voices. And when you recognize something that doesn't align with God's truth, when you hear a word that brings death instead of life, you shut it down immediately. No curse can live where faith is alive. So rise up and speak over yourself what God has already declared. Oh, but there's one more deadly thing you must never collect. And it's so subtle, so deceptive, that it creeps in while you're sleeping, while you're making excuses, while you're telling yourself tomorrow. I'm talking about the spirit of laziness. I'm talking about that comfortable complacency that settles over your dreams like a fog until one day you wake up and realize your life has passed you by. You were meant for so much more than just getting by. You were created for dominion, for productivity, for abundance, not to sit on the sidelines of your own destiny. But when you adopt laziness from those around you, when you make peace with mediocrity because it's easier than fighting, you're not just wasting time, you're wasting purpose. And that, my friend, is a tragedy worse than poverty. I've watched too many people bury their gifts in the ground of good enough. They had talent, they had opportunity, they had divine favor, but they lacked diligence. They waited for success to come to them instead of pursuing it. They expected blessings to fall in their lap while refusing to lift a finger, and then they wondered why their harvest never came. But hear me today, faith without works is dead. Vision without labor is just a daydream. The Bible says, go to the ant, you sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. Even the smallest creature understands this principle. If you don't work, you don't eat. If you don't sow, you can't reap. If you don't stretch your hands toward your destiny, you'll always be reaching for someone else's leftovers. Some of you have been sitting on ideas God gave you years ago. You've been delaying that business, postponing that education, putting off that ministry call, waiting for a sign when God's already given you the green light. Meanwhile, doors are closing, opportunities are passing. The enemy isn't just attacking your present, he's stealing your future through your own inactivity. But it's not too late to shake off this slumber. That dream in your heart isn't dead, it's dormant. Those skills in your hands aren't useless, they're untapped. That calling on your life isn't cancelled, it's waiting for you to rise up and claim it. The world doesn't need more spectators. It needs believers who will roll up their sleeves and demonstrate what happens when faith meets action. Today, I'm calling you out of the stands and onto the field. No more excuses. No more some days. No more watching others live the life you were meant to lead. The clock is ticking, and every moment you waste is a piece of your destiny you may never get back. Your harvest is waiting, but it will only grow where you're willing to sow.